学派，我是英，
我是 T 哥。
今天呢，我们随机找了一位我们的同学来跟我们聊天，然后全程会是英文的，但是我们不会做任何的翻译。那我们就开始吧。Okay, great. So welcome Rocky to our this very spontaneous little not very interviewee call. Yeah, so welcome, and could you give us a little brief introduction to yourself?
Okay, so I'm Rocky, but you could also call me Ricky or Ratchet. I have so many names. Well, I guess I'm in my second term in UOL. So far, so good. I hope in my standards they're okay. My grades are okay.
Okay.
And I guess I'll talk about my hobbies. So I like anime. Mechanical keyboards. I also do some sound engineering sometimes.
Ooh.
And art, lots of drawing, and yeah, that's about it.
Are you drawing on paper, on iPad, or what kind
Oh,
of medium?
well, okay, so I started out drawing on paper, of course, since
Okay.
I'm not that old, but I sadly, when I was a kid, didn't have drawing pads that much. So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I draw on paper, and sometimes when I sketch, I prefer drawing on paper, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'll draw on the iPad if I want to
Ooh.
make it like digital.
Mm-hmm.
And when I
Nice.
paint, I also prefer painting on paper, but everything's more practical on the iPad. So yeah.
Yeah. What kind of things do you draw? Like portrait or landscape or.
Oh, well, I like I like drawing portraits. Usually, like they're pretty dark. They're not like dark, but it's not a happy type of
Oh,
drawings.
okay.
Like I don't do fuzzy colors and all that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you draw like anime style because you love to?
Yeah. Well, I try to. Emphasis really on the try. I really do
Okay.
try to draw on the anime style, but sometimes it just gets so weird because I grew up drawing on like for the proper proportion faces, and then I want to draw anime, and it's so
Anime is
weird
not
to cross that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always like the big
Exactly.
eyes and like weird.
Yeah.
Definitely weird.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not for the like regular human nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say let's talk about maybe our this podcast is all about the degree. So let's try to I guess talk about the degree. So if you remember, like how did you first know about this degree? Before you apply.
Okay.
We always wanted to know.
Yeah, this is like the
Yeah.
first question I always ask.
From all types of people.
Yeah. Do you
Well,
remember?
for me, I think it was my mom who found it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mm.
So my mom, she likes keeping up with everything out there. Like she's the one. Like I don't need to read the news or watch the news. She
You just-
usually tells me about this stuff.
She's
Yeah.
the news station, huh?
Yeah, she's exactly. So yeah, she told me about it. I think because she likes learning, so I think she would go to
Ooh.
Coursera a lot, and I think she found
Wow.
it there. Yeah, and she was telling me about it since
Wow.
I was going to a college.
Mhm.
So well, this is like sort of like a big. It's like it's pretty a long discussion, but I'm gonna try to summarize it. So I was applying for universities here in the Philippines, and
Mhm.
so I got into I think manufacturing engineering, and I would be majoring in robotics. But
Ooh.
then the schools here were in absolute chaos during the pandemic. So I was
Mhm.
like, okay, if I'm gonna go online, I might as well go online.
Like this.
In like a university or a program that actually knows what they're doing. So
Right.
that's how I got.
Okay.
That's how I got into it. Yeah.
Nice.
So what was your first reaction when you heard about like totally online degree? Do you
Well,
feel like a little bit hesitated, or
yeah.
like is it true, or is the degree
Legit.
Legit. Yeah.
legit or something? Yeah.
You know what? I have to be honest. Yeah, definitely. I had a lot of worries and doubts.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
doubts
that's very normal.
especially.
That's very normal.
Yeah, yeah. And so I think Ying knows this, but I was homeschooled like all
Mhm,
throughout from the start of my academic life until, now. So
mhm,
I was pretty hesitant because I felt like, growing up I had a lot of these like traditional, my family's like my extended family, they're pretty traditional. So
Mhm.
they would keep asking me like if I have friends, like how would my social life
mm,
be. So
Mhm.
I always thought that I would be going to an actual university and
mhm,
make,
mhm.
Mhm.
these like
Like a physical
face
one,
to
like
face.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But
Right.
then, so making this decision of going here, it was pretty difficult. And
Mm,
to be honest, I kind of struggled with it at the start, like a few
mhm,
months starting it.
Mhm.
mm,
And but eventually as I met new people and started seeing the silver linings of these things, I
Mhm.
nice.
realized that it was worth it. And actually, what a big thing that kind of drove things in and made me comfortable with my decision was my interview with Ying for the
Oh,
Mm.
really?
club.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. They were
Oh
talking
wow.
about how why they chose this degree and what they like about it. And then I
Mhm,
Mhm.
realized that yeah, it pays off. Like
mhm.
I would stick to this degree rather than going to an actual,
Physical
physical
campus,
university,
yeah.
because I wouldn't
Mhm.
have time for opportunities and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I see.
So yeah.
Are they still worried about like
Right
not
now,
being able to, like have the real local
social
friends,
interaction, whatever.
social
Yeah, yeah.
interaction? Yeah. Are they still worried?
What you mean my like
You,
family?
Yeah, yeah, like your relative or your parents, your families.
Yeah. Well, my nuclear family, they're absolutely
Mhm.
supportive of this
Okay.
thing. My sister was also homeschooled, and
Mhm.
but my most struggle is actually with my grandparents. But
Mhm.
oh.
right now I'm not sure if they know,
Yeah.
but I think they're pretty okay, and they kind of broke free from that conservative traditional thinking now. So
Mhm.
I think so far I'm okay. At least what I'm sensing. I don't know. I
Mhm.
don't know what they talk about.
Yeah, you don't know in
But
the
yeah,
future, but right now, yeah, okay, yeah, that's great.
yeah, yeah.
That's a great thing.
That
At
that's
least,
pretty typical, yeah. But
Mm.
whenever you graduated, you pass on that piece of graduation paper. I think they understand right away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but
Hopefully, hopefully.
that's a relatively long journey. But anyway, yes,
Yeah.
there's still a few years to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess like a few questions that we usually ask people. One of them you already answered before before you even
Oh,
asked is what's your biggest obstacle before you enroll or you apply?
yeah,
Which is, the families, like, the doubts about the degrees and what other
yeah,
stuff. And what about like, okay, that's like before you apply and before you enroll. And like
yeah.
you also mentioned that when you first started. What's the thing that you said a bit like, the social aspect? Like what's the big that you struggle the most?
Oh, well, okay. So I was having like a lot of doubts about getting a job. Like, would I be able to get a proper job, stuff
Mm-hmm.
like
Mhm.
that. And for the social aspect, ever since I was a kid, it didn't really affect me that much because I was very active in church. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be
Mhm.
there a lot, I'd be helping a lot. But then at the start of the university, or at least my term here, we didn't have church yet because it was locked down
Oh,
here.
okay.
Mhm.
So I think I was struggling a lot with that. And some of the universities, so some of my friends, they were actually saying like they were going to physical universities, they were making, lots of friends, stuff like that. And I was
Mhm.
like worried that, I wouldn't be able to create that same friendship, like
Mm-hmm.
that solid friendship where you can look back and, talk about things that you experienced together.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
then, thankfully, now that church is open again, I was able to go to church and like
Mm-hmm.
be more social. And I
Mhm.
realized that I'm like the type that would be extroverted one
Mhm.
week, like once a week. And then after that,
Oh,
I didn't want to talk to anyone else. So I was like that. So
you
it
kind
was
of like
perfect.
you use all your energy in that one day, and that's it. Is that
Yes, exactly. That is exactly right. Yep.
okay? I kind of get you. Like yeah, one of like my phases in my life is kind of like that as well. So yeah, I was like when you go out, people are like, oh, that's for like an extrovert people, but they don't see you when you're by yourself. So kind of yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay. So you've been here over, let's say, how long is it since the second term? So it's like November now. So like 9 months. When wait no 9 6 7
Wait,
months.
hold
I think
on.
7
Let me
months
check.
since you first
Yeah.
April, right?
Right.
So like 7 months. So
Yeah.
over half a year, a little bit over half a year. And
Yeah.
what would you say is like your favorite thing? Whatever thing
My
about the
favorite
degree?
about
Mm.
okay.
Mm.
To be honest, I really like how I can pace myself.
Mm-hmm.
And how I have control of my time. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
so important to me
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I have all these hobbies and I
Yeah.
love investing time in them. But then if I go to like a physical school,
Yeah.
I want to have this flexi time that I have right now. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving it. Like I'm absolutely loving the flexi time.
Nice. Yeah. And how do you
Yeah.
usually pace your studies? Like, do you do like just study when you have time, or do you do more studies when you have more time? And do you like just take rest and don't do any studies?
Oh, well, right now, ever since I started, because I had these like registration issues, so I
Oh.
started pretty late. So right now I'm catching up for like
Okay.
4 weeks.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard to pace myself because also I'm like pretty busy trying to get my driver's license.
Oh.
Emphasis on trying again.
Okay.
So so right now it's pretty whack. So as long as I have these like relaxed times and I know
Mhm.
I don't have much planned on that day, I try to pack in as much as I can. But
Okay.
then it's hard to that. Sometimes I have time, but then it's like 30 minutes. So
Yeah.
I don't want to study for like 30 minutes and then just
Of course not.
break that momentum
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
quickly. So I just
Mm.
like, okay, maybe I'll just watch like a
Watch
few
another
videos.
yeah.
Yeah, but I won't read because the reading part is like it takes the longest and
Yeah.
I learn the most when I'm reading. So I like to give
Okay.
like a substantial time for
Mhm.
myself when
Mhm.
I'm reading.
Mm.
So yeah, it's so right now it's pretty hard, but usually I study every day as much as I can.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
That,
Wow. Hard
that's a
work.
Yeah.
good pace already.
Yeah.
Is it?
I only study like 5 hours in on weekend. Uh,
Oh.
Because he works,
or
so
Yeah.
yeah.
because I'm also working.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I try to squeeze my time all the way. Like sometimes I remember my first year,
Mm.
I can spend like probably 10 hours
Whoa.
on weekend, like Saturday and Sunday.
What?
But yeah, the weekday I just can't. I can't do
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's hard if you're working.
so it's good that we can control our own time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think we forgot to mention that I'm in like for Rocky, like I'm in the degree for 2 years and Mr. T is in the degree for 2.5 years, so one
Mm,
Oh.
semester ahead of me. So he's in for
right.
more. That's why he's like recalling for the first year, like
I
actually
am.
yeah, recalling. Yeah. So
Whoa.
we're pretty far in. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a new perspective for us to see to hear people.
Mhm.
Okay, you're just here, for first term, second term, and how is
Yeah.
it experience for you? So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Okay, so I have another question. Maybe you have an answer, or maybe you don't. So, what would you say? Because you kind of experience like the ups and downs a little bit from your side, that
Mm.
in like such an online and different aspect in terms of how an online degree will affect your life.
Mm.
And what would you say if you were, if someone's asking you, oh, do you think online degree will suit me? Not talking about the like studying computer science, not about the subject at all, just the feature, all the
Of
features an online degree will have. And what would you say, like if you can think of something that you think someone needs to have this characteristic in order to to strive through like an online degree, can you think of something?
Okay. So, like, what characteristic do you need to be able to push through with it? Kind of like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, I've had like a lot of people ask me about the online degree, especially those younger when they're just about to go out into the college world, and well, I noticed like at least my leg up was that I'm kind of used to studying at home, studying by myself, and not needing to have like everyday social interactions and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of things that you need to be able to like really push through with it, but probably for my main thing is having the discipline to study by yourself. That is like the main thing, because usually, especially if you're going from like a normal school background where I have teachers and stuff, I noticed that a lot of my friends were saying that they find it hard to study by themselves. They always procrastinate, stuff like that. So well, admittedly I procrastinate as well, but then it's like the
Everybody
learning
does.
part, I think.
Yeah, everyone procrastinate.
Understanding.
I don't think anyone could not procrastinate.
Yeah. Exactly. That is true. But yeah, I think it's mostly the learning part of any online degree. It's hard to learn unless you have that discipline.
Yeah,
So
that's
yep.
great. So basically, I hear from discipline. That's what usually people will say, and the other I personally agree a lot is you need to make sure that you don't need that much actual social interaction.
Yes.
I do very agree with that.
Amen. Yep. Definitely.
Yeah, we both me and Mr. D, we were both like we know ourselves, we don't need that much social interactions. That's why we're here. We're like we're living fine, we're just totally fine.
Yep.
Yeah, that is true. Extroverts cannot. I feel like they'll have like a really hard time.
Unless they have they have other stuff going on in their life that can fulfill that need.
That is true.
Or
that
else,
is true.
yeah.
If you're like a full-time student, you would have a hard time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. On the opposite side, I was trying to think. This is not like in one of my questions. I just thought about it on the spot. Like, what kind of people would you say? Oh, okay, the online degree might not be for you. Like, if we like the opposite characteristics. Like, okay, they have this, and they're like, no, you don't enter this. You will die, or you will suffer, or whatever. Yeah. Anything.
Okay. It's sad though, because right now I have this like person in mind.
Oh really? Oh my god.
Oh really?
Oh, try to
That's
anonymously describe the characteristics if possible.
Okay, I will try. I will really try. But this person obviously extroverted. Like I think if you're like extreme, you're like on that complete opposite side of the
Okay.
spectrum. I think you would like have like a really hard time. And also on top of that, like what you said, if they don't have anything on the side, definitely they would probably die, right?
Right.
But
Die
then
of like boredom or loneliness or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And also another thing, because here like a lot of, I'm thinking for my age, because in my age we usually don't have work, we don't have all these things. So if we decide to go online, we're really saying, okay, I'm gonna be like at home 90% of the time, right? So I'm gonna be lonely. I'm just gonna, right? So I think for my age group, it would be family too, because most of us aren't living alone. Like especially here, it's not like normal for my age. So I'm 18 right now, to live alone and to have jobs. So they're usually dependent on their family. And if they're not close with their family, they're not close with the people they're living with, it gets really messy, especially if they're used to going to school a lot, so they don't see their family. Like they will have a really hard time like actually connecting with their family. Like I noticed that. Okay, again, this is based on a person I know. So,
Yeah. Okay.
so yeah, so maybe I feel like that's why they need to go out, because they can't stay with their family, because sometimes, you know, it's hard, like admittedly it's hard sometimes. Yeah, and especially people who have a hard time like I feel like people like that, they usually have a hard time focusing. I don't know why, but extroverted, like they're everywhere, they're like so energetic, and it's hard for them to sit in one place and like look at their computer and look at the videos and stuff.
They need to be disciplined. They can't discipline.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can think of one though, like, because this is not a question that I've ever asked myself. I think for people that I think it's similar to discipline, but it's on a different aspect. It's more like disciplines. It's like you are doing the learning, but the other side is how you learn, or how do you expect the teaching to be done. If you, I feel like this is a big no if you expect a institution, whatever that is, to spoon fed you all the things. I think that's a big no, because it just usual university doesn't do that. High school, maybe not. You know, it depends on the school, depends on the culture, whatever. Yeah. So if you, because I've seen a lot of people that were like, oh, why did I not do this? And was like, I literally just said that if you expect like a spoon fed education, and literally, yes, someone admit that they want spoon fed university education.
Okay.
Yes, again, that's surprising to me as well. I was like, but yeah, so I was like, no, this is definitely not for you. We're here to, especially this degree, or like UK degree, let's say, it's very self-oriented. It's super self-oriented.
That is true.
Yeah,
that
so
is true.
yeah, that's another feature I can think. Okay, that's a big no. Don't come here at all.
Expecting, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I guess, okay, one last question is that what's well, like one or two questions depending on how you want to answer that. So what advice would you give someone that's interested in this degree? And the other, you can think about this for now. And the other is, what would you tell yourself, you know, like half a year ago, or maybe, you know, when you were applying? What would you tell yourself back then when you know, just started?
Okay.
You can pick one or both, either way.
I'd probably answer both. Like, knowing me and how talkative I am. Yeah, it would probably.
Cool. Yeah, just in case you don't know how to
Hit
answer.
them all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for me, recently, like very recently, someone was asking me about being in this degree, right? And I feel like automatically they would always ask, like, why don't you go? Like, because you have the option to go to UK, right? And stuff like that, and transfer on campus. And like they keep asking, like, why don't you go? Why do you choose to stay like online and all that? I feel like what I'm telling them is sometimes they're so you can't keep focusing on like on campus life. Like, you have to think about how choosing this path would enable you to see other paths, like, and to pursue other paths, to have more time for, like, maybe, I don't know, like for my age group, get a job, or maybe spend more time with your family if you have that problem, or I don't know, like pursue something outside of school, because I feel like a lot of people are so focused on like academics and like achieving academics, but they forget, like, you know, extracurricular stuff and how to grow yourself outside of school. So I feel like that would be an advice, or like something I would tell them, like, don't be afraid to grow yourself outside of school, to pursue new things outside of school, because I feel like a lot of people are scared to branch away from that. Like, they always think, like, okay, I have to go to school clubs, or like I have to join school orgs, and that's how I kind of branch away from school. But then I feel like
that's still inside the school.
yeah, go inside. Exactly. That is so true. But then they forget, like, you can actually, do that by yourself, like, I don't know, volunteer for like a NGO or something, right?
Yeah.
And for myself, like, to advise myself, I'm sort of advising myself, like, as I say these things, like myself, a few months ago. But maybe the most advice I would give myself is because I was like, to be honest, I was like really struggling with like, that social aspect, because I'm like a social butterfly that comes out like once a week.
Okay,
That
yeah.
sort of thing. Yeah. So I was like having like a really hard time being in my cocoon, right, and everything. So yeah, I feel like for myself it would be, and because of that short thing that I had with my, I don't know, like being so anxious and all that, I kind of lost touch with like some people that I
Ooh.
know from the university. Like, they would try to talk to me, but then I would be like, yeah, like, one question, one answer sort of thing, because I felt like I have the energy for anything, like anything social. But then the cure was social, but being, yeah, anyway, it was messed up. So I feel like for me it would be like, sometimes like think outside of that. Like, it's okay to have like social exchanges through virtual, right? There's nothing wrong with it, because you actually get to know people. And I think like at
Yes.
the end of the day, it's about getting to know people
Yeah.
and building that relationship. It doesn't always have to be like I see them physically.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you can make relationships with people virtually. So
Right.
it would be that. Yeah.
Do you think it's possible for people to be friends, or whatever definition you have for friends, maybe friends or close friends? Do you think it's possible to make friends just virtually?
Oh yeah, definitely. So right now I have this Discord server full of like a group of people that I'm friends with. And some of these people like I'm really close with. Like, I don't know, but they share their love life and everything, like what they're going through emotionally. And sometimes we'd have calls. So like right today actually, I have this call in about 2 hours with this group of friends. So we try to arrange these things because chat is good, but then I feel like calling would be better
Different.
sometimes
Yes.
too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think definitely you can make close friends, but probably the advice I would give is don't shy away from calling, because sometimes I don't know, maybe it's me and my Chineseness and shyness or something, but I'm like very very like camera shy or something. So it took me a really long time to be able to call them and like show my face. Like for the
Oh,
longest
okay.
time, they didn't know what I looked like. So,
Okay.
like Ying probably saw my face first before them, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay. So in
yeah.
the
So I
interview,
was,
right? Okay.
yeah, yeah. I was really camera shy. So that would be the advice. Of course, like maybe, some of you out there, you have no problem with that. But some of you, if you have that problem, I really encourage you to like be there and like call
It's
them.
not that
Just risk
scary.
it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not that scary. I
Yeah.
don't know
Well,
why. I don't
I
know
really
why.
hope. I think. Well, depends on who you met. Most people, I don't think like how you just opening your camera. How people can be rude. I don't know. But usually people are very very nice. You like know people.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
what's gonna judge that? Like, you're not going to go on the street and judge people's appearance or something, right? So that's the same thing.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but the longer you keep them waiting, there's like more of this climax and anticipation building, and then once you like open the camera, you're like so conscious because everyone's staring at you for like
Yeah,
five
you just open
seconds.
it on first when the first time you go in, just open it and it's fine.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think like for those of you like in the listeners who are starting out, like you're on your first term, I think there'll be like some webinars where you'll break out into groups, I think. So that's where I met my friends. But in usually in those breakout groups, no one turns on their camera. Sometimes
Oh.
no one even turns on their mic, so everyone's just chatting. So I really do advise you guys. Like I
Wait,
know they're like a
you
bunch
go
of
into
strangers.
breakout rooms and you chat through text.
Yes, exactly, right? Exactly. Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Like
it
I
doesn't
get the
make sense.
video. Exactly. Like, I get
Oh
why you
my.
don't want to turn on your video, but why would you not turn on your mic? I am
Yes.
admittedly one of these people who did not do that, and I absolutely regret it. So
Okay.
if you guys are having those webinars, just turn on your mic at least. Like, talk. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a great advice. Yes, because we don't
Yeah.
have like breakout rooms when we're doing those, the first year modules. So that's a new thing. That's a new thing for yes.
Oh.
I know it from you guys. When interviewing you guys and
Oh,
talking about
okay.
you guys. So I was like, okay, that's a great feature. That's a new addition that they're having. They're improving. So that's definitely like great news. They're improving. So that's great. Yeah.
but
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
but you guys know, when I was at work,
Mm-hmm.
like my manager opened up this meeting and he was like, "Okay, since we are all engineers, we don't need to put out a camera."
What does
So
that
so
mean?
so bear in mind, engineers are mostly introverted, so
Yeah.
they don't open cameras. They
Oh
don't
my
turn
god.
on camera at all.
Yeah,
Oh
So,
my god.
so that's kind of normal too. If you want to
yeah.
put it that way.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty funny. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
What kind of mechanical keyboard you were talking about? You were
Oh
into
no.
that? I'm a mechanical keyboard fanboy as well.
Oh
Yeah.
no. This is like gonna be okay, so Ying, get ready. This is gonna
Get
be
ready.
like ours. This is gonna be for ours.
Go,
Just
go, go
kidding.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so right now I have just one full size. It's
Mm,
the GMMK1.
okay.
So okay, I was to be
What
honest, I
what
really
switch?
wasn't. Okay, I started with the Gatron Browns.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they
Browns.
were not. I don't know. I didn't like them. I really did
You
not
didn't
like
like
them.
them. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Have you
didn't.
have you
I
tried
looped
other
them and
ones?
everything. Yeah. So right now I'm using the Jwick Allos.
Mm-hmm.
Much heavier and much more tactile bump, like a lot more. I
Okay.
so far I'm pretty I like it. I like it. I like the deep sound, but I also like that kind of like that extra click with the very defined tactile bump. So, and then I
Is it
tried my
also
Gatrons
brown
again.
switch?
What? What? Sorry.
It is also brown switch?
No, no, no,
Uh,
no, no.
it's a
It's like it's color cyan-ish or
Sorry.
greenish.
Oh, okay. I never
Yeah,
tried
but
that.
it's a tactile one as well.
Mm.
So I tried going back to the Gatron Browns. I absolutely hated it compared to compared to my Jwick Allo. So my keyboard is like pretty modded. Like I did a lot of stuff.
Mm.
But I'm trying
Okay.
to stop myself now because
I
I feel
see.
like I might break it. So yeah, and sometimes I do fix keyboards for like my friends. So right now my friend, he's my mentor on sound engineering. He
Mm-hmm.
broke his keyboard because I think he was pushing the switch in too hard, and the hot
Oh,
swap
wow.
receptor snapped, like it snapped out of the PCB. So
Uh-huh.
the problem right now is very bad because the
Wow.
PCB itself is broken.
Mm-hmm.
I just told him to get a new one,
Yeah,
but
it's just
it's so, I don't know. He has a new one already, but it's like his baby. So I'm trying to fix it. I'm trying to fix it. Yeah. How about
oh
you?
wow.
What's yours? What's your
Well,
keyboards?
I don't do the custom one like you do.
Oh.
That's more professional.
Oh.
I have I have the Leopold. It's made in Korea, I think.
Oh.
But I personally like the brown switch myself.
Really?
Yeah, I like a little bit,
Oh.
just a little bit of clicky, but not that much. I used to have a
Oh.
lot of blue switch. I
Yeah.
think that's just made by Logitech, but it was just
Oh.
entry level for me. I
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
yeah.
try to experience, try to fiddle with them,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then but I think the custom one should be more fun. I just haven't had a chance to do your own looping and then pick your
Yeah.
own PCB board. I
Mm.
think it's a lot of fun too. But I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
because I'm a typist, I do touch typing, so
Okay.
I am very picky about my keyboard.
Yeah, I
So,
understand. So you like the clicky switches more actually, right?
yeah, but not the blue one. That's too
Oh,
much.
you don't like the
So
blue. It's too
I don't
much.
like.
Oh, okay. I
But
think you'll like my the type that
yeah,
I
I
like, the
think
pull
if
out
you
one.
do your custom one, you can loop it and then make it sound much quieter, right? And that's probably
It with the looping I noticed like in terms of
mhm,
sound it helps a lot, but it doesn't
mhm,
actually make it a lot quieter. Like sometimes there are like the spring rattlings, right? Like it sounds so
right,
rattly your switch. The
right.
looping sometimes absolutely takes care of that. Like absolutely no rattle at all. So it just makes
Mhm.
the sound cleaner. It brings out the proper sound for the switch, but it doesn't really
Oh,
make it softer. Like that's what
I
I
see.
noticed. Yeah.
I see. I
Mm-hmm.
see. I know some people use the like a plastic ring. Um, they just put in the middle of the stop where
Oh.
how the keycap connect to your switch. They just put a very tiny ring,
Oh,
and
right.
that keeps the sound a little bit quieter too. I
Yeah,
did
yeah.
that. I did
Uh-huh.
that because I don't mind using the blue switch. I used to
Mm-hmm.
have two blue switch keyboards,
Oh,
uh,
whoa.
but it was just too noise. And my colleagues were like, "Can you be quiet?" So
Oh, wow.
yeah, I try to be a little bit quieter after all.
Oh.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
but
Sad news for you, but
Yeah.
yeah, for me, I'm
Exactly.
not a fan. So the noise, how it feels. So yeah, either
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I understand him because I think he really likes the feeling, right? But then
I
the
do.
exchange is the
You know,
sound.
I even had purchased a keyboard. You know, the F and J usually have that little bump, right? So
Yeah.
that you know how your finger position, right? That's how
Yeah,
typists
yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And I have this keyboard without those, or basically
Oh,
I
you
remember.
can you
why?
can barely feel it,
Oh
and I
no.
was so mad because I cannot type. Okay, without those precision in my fingers, I cannot type. I type like gibberish. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
and I was so mad. I even wrote a very bad comment back to Amazon saying
Oh
like
no.
this is the stupidest
Design.
manufacturer ever because you don't know how to design a keyboard.
Oh my goodness.
I was so mad.
Yeah, I remember. I remember you like yeah, you're like venting
Yeah,
about that a little bit with me. Yeah, yeah. It's stupid. Yeah, it's just
it
stupid.
is. Yeah.
We had a great talk. I hope you are enjoying
Oh,
this as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
We
yeah,
can probably do another one.
Oh,
if you want,
sure,
we can
sure.
sure do another one. So yeah, so I guess so. Stay tuned, the audience. Stay tuned if we have future call or just chats with Rocky.
Mhm.
And so yeah, just thank you and see you next time. Bye
Bye.
bye.